Hi everyone, my name is Madeline Stowe, and today we're going to be going over remote airports, weather stations, and how they can be utilized together. Looking at weather reporting in the United States, we have the Automated Weather Observation System, Automated Surface Observation System, we have automated weather stations. We also have sources outside of this, including 1-800-WX-BRIEF, serving as a phone number or an online source, as well as aviationweather.gov, and ForeFlight, as well as Garmin Pilot. These are commonly found in the United States, with AWOS and ASOS being a federally funded program that allows smaller airports to receive weather information. Automated weather stations serve as tools in areas that don't currently have weather reporting stations, providing up-to-date weather information to their users via satellite or internet use. The reason we need these is for trending weather data. The more weather stations in remote areas will allow us to better track weather trends. We see on this chart here hazardous weather. So that center, the red, is going to be our convective weather. But outside of this local convective SIGMET is going to be icing air mets or SIGMETs, as well as turbulence that's going to be experienced by the pilot. All of these can become a hazardous situation very quickly. Additionally, hazardous weather occurs more in the United States than it does in Europe. We can see this from a study done by Sauer in 2019. It says, compared to Europe, the United thunderstorms are twice as frequent over the United States, with as many as 4 times more storm reports. Lightning frequency is the highest during the summer over the central and eastern part of the country, east of the Rocky Mountains. 60 to 80 thunderstorm hours are reported, with local peaks over Florida. Knowing that this happens, we have to think about the importance of a weather station in all areas across the country. My thesis for this project is that automated weather stations are a reliable source for weather data to allow pilots to make better decisions regarding aeronautical decision making. Installing this at Wamego Municipal Airport would create a safer environment for pilots in a cost-effective and low-maintenance way. This will be accomplished without federal funding and through alternative automated weather reporting stations. People may not be perfect, but through this project, aviation does become a safer place as people follow in the Lord's guidance to seek wisdom or tools like an automated weather station. They can create a safer and wiser society. Some questions to think about as we go through this project and before while doing the proposal for this was, is there enough traffic at Wamego Airport to justify the installation? What types of automated weather stations are there? How is weather reporting evolving in the United States? Are automated weather stations even reliable? Who would benefit? Would this allow for safer pilots in the area? What's the cost? Who's going to fund it? And who's going to make sure it's maintained? Automated weather stations really bring together weather and aviation. Not all weathermen are pilots, but all pilots must be weathermen. Automated weather stations improve pilots' aeronautical decision-making abilities, and by implementing a weather station at Wamego Airport, pilots will be safer. Another term that we like to use for captain is pilot, or PIC. Well, the PIC is responsible for making those overall decisions, whether it's the takeoff, the landing, the alternate airport, or the diversion if it's needed. A key component to making these decisions is having accurate weather reporting, especially if something is experienced during the flight. Global efforts have been made to create a safer sky through understanding weather trends, ways to identify hazardous weather, and incorporating this technology that already exists into systems. Renewable energy and creating a greener industry is of great importance, especially in aviation. Renewable energies are very beneficial, especially for sources of power. A low maintenance weather station would be very useful at Wamego, and members of the airport would be held to a minimal accountability. This minimal accountability and low maintenance can be seen from technology developed by members of the engineering and mathematics department from the Universidad Michoacana de San Nicolas de Hidalgo, Morelia in Mexico. They developed a low-cost hydrological reporting system, and the internals of this are very similar to an AWOS system. They include tools like a barometer, thermometer, and hydrometer. Many of the sensors and components were created also using 3D printing to reduce costs. The overall cost of this was $375 with an annual $75 to use the database and the network for the station. This information was published in November of 2023 and really demonstrates how far the aviation industry has come and where it really has to go. Low costs are the future. There are other options in aviation as well, other than having a ground-based station. This includes stuff like crowdsourcing, using PIREPs, or open source weather stations. Cell phones are becoming a large part in aviation, and through using methods like this, we'll be able to see how that trends in the future. So who can use this? The collection of data from remote locations like Wamego offer a really deeper insight into how this area is affected by weather. Being in Tornado Alley, this area often sees more tornadoes than other locations in the United States. So gathering weather information about the environment while en route is essential to allow pilots to decide on the appropriate route. I experienced something like this while traveling from Manhattan, Kansas to Rapid City, South Dakota this past February. While we were traveling through the Badlands, we started to experience some moderate turbulence, but we couldn't see what was causing it due to a lack of weather. We had moderate wind shear and turbulence throughout the remaining 2 hours of our flight. So people in general aviation, commercial pilots, local communities, and National Weather Service can benefit from the gathering of this data, reports up to date for weather and reporting. Aeronautical decision making and weather. Automated weather stations improve a pilot's ADM. This would create a safer environment even at 6-9 kilo. So hazardous weather is a threat to pilots, and more accurate readings really make the route safer. So for instance, we see the boundaries here on this diagram cover a large area. Sauer et al. Does a really excellent job of explaining in the article that they wrote regarding the distance deciding a route through areas like this. Well, they can't tell you exactly how that weather is going to look without having local data. By being able to focus on local weather at Wamego, pilots are able to decide their routes, and if needed, this could be their alternate airport through having that weather rather than using airports in the area for local weather and just creating an inference. The prudent see the danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. This is from Proverbs. To finish off with Sauer et al. 2019, they said that thunderstorms can be detected effectively using automatic ground-based or satellite lightning detection systems, but several local events such as hail or tornadoes still require a reporting observer. The evolution of weather reporting. The evolution of weather reporting capabilities in the U.S. continues to improve at a national scale, allowing us to pave the way for a more accurate forecast. Understanding how this information is going to be interpreted is important. King et al. Researched how pilots interpret specific weather charts and symbology. This study showed that older models were harder to read and newer models were easier. We can see this in this quote. Participants scored higher on the model-based turbulence product, GTG, than the traditional polygon-based weather product, the G-AirMet Tango. This is from a 2021 study that looked at how evolution and technology has changed what pilots see and view as priorities. So there are other means of weather reporting. Weather stations don't have to be federally funded. Small airports really can be hard to fund. We have things like PIREPs already, but crowdsourcing is another source. As phones have become pocket-sized computers with better processors, better data coverage, and better cameras, we're able to upload images in real time and really record and show what's actually happening. Whether it's a passenger or another pilot in a smaller plane, uploading images of clouds or seeing if there's rain in the actual forecast. It's a way to better create a safer environment. Seeking wisdom, being able to share it with a fellow pilot or neighbor creates a safer environment and shares in the search for knowledge, just as God teaches. This is a view of the Wamego Airport upon turning into it. At the front, we see the airport's FBO. Behind it are many, many hangars. The implementation plan itself was a four-element project with tracking landings between 25th of May and the 12th of June at 6-9 kilo, surveying the area for an optimal weather station location, surveying pilots at the airport to understand what they use 6-9 kilo for, and keeping a log sheet at the FBO in the instance I am not there. So that data was collected in 3 ways: in person, through the log sheet at the FBO, and records kept by my fellow coworkers as we're flight instructors and often use this airport for training events and see other people do this as well. The log sheet was located in the FBO, and in person, I spent time at this airfield just counting landings to ensure that there was activity at the airfield. The survey questions that were asked included what aircraft type, weather conditions they had upon landing, the ratings they held, types of weather briefs they've attained before their flight, and if they believe that 69 Kilo would benefit from a weather station. After leaving the log sheet at 69 Kilo for 16 days, I had 6 recorded landings. The survey was used on the sheet as well to see how people arrived at the airport, type of briefing they performed, their thoughts on the weather station. The individual, though, from 527 did not fully fill out their survey row, but they did still have an input. So all pilots did also report having landed in VFR and had at least a minimum private pilot license with an instrument rating. These are some interesting things about this chart. Looking at total landings, there were 60 landings recorded, 42 of which in person, with 12 of my coworkers reporting landings, and 6 surveyed landings. So this project proved successful, seeing that there was a decent volume of traffic at an airport with minimal abilities. After gathering the data and looking around the airfield, this is the proposed weather location. It's to the left of the fuel pumps, across from the FBO. It has electrical capabilities, and it allows for ample space on all sides. It's additionally away from the runway to reduce possible hazards to other aircraft. Through research that was conducted during the implementation process, the proposed solution for this weather station would be the Diacon MS-130. This really would meet the needs of 69 Kilo as its ability to be rugged, become low maintenance, and it has renewable energy sources available. It provides everything that an ASOS system would be able to do and is very high functioning. Reflecting on this project, finding out what details mattered was extremely important, as well as being able to adjust and have good time management. There was some small bias towards general aviation, and longer survey times would prove much more effective. To understand what was important, I first thought of the details and questions that mattered, preparing to prove that smaller, more remote airports need weather reporting abilities is a task that can come with many variables. Knowing what questions to ask people on a survey is relevant, but also timely. Being able to see that this was a need additionally was important. When trying to find different ways to gather data about the airfield, flight radar services and tracking services weren't good at tracking and finding out what aircraft landed here. So that was out during the implementation phase. But during the implementation process, some difficulties arose when I had some conflicts with work, required some patience, but this allowed me to have a larger implementation period where I was gathering data over more days. Though shorter shifts or amount of times would have proved to be better in the long run, just to get a better sample size. Additionally, reminding my coworkers in passing to keep track of any landings they did during this period would have proved very successful. And after the implementation concluded, gathering the data and seeing just how much information showed that the effort was worth it. Larger scale, having the local controlling agency see if they can record any activity noted during future events would be beneficial. And finally, surveying in seasons that are not the summer would also prove beneficial. In conclusion, automated weather stations are a reliable source for weather data to allow pilots to make better decisions regarding ADM, and installing this at Wamego Airport would create a safer environment for pilots in a cost-effective and low-maintenance way. This is accomplished without federal funding and through alternative means. As pilots are more informed and gain wisdom that automated weather stations provide, they're able to make better decisions about hazards they may encounter in flying. Aviation continues to evolve, but it relies on those in the industry to find the gaps and fill these. Using out-of-the-box thinking is essential. Here are my references.